Hi, everyone. Once again, it's the Pirate People podcast from North Central Missouri College's Pirates Digital Media, and I am Rick Cole. Jenni Croy is our guest today. You know Jenni. She is the women's basketball coach here at North Central. Took the Pirates to the national tournament, did extremely well last year, and has the core group coming back this year, so lots of high expectations there. But did you know that Jenni is also an instructor, and you may have had her, or you may be having her right now. She is teaching so many classes that the odds are in your favor that you know her as an instructor in math as well. Today's guest on the Pirate People podcast is Jenni Croy. Let's talk about your responsibilities at North Central, because you're high visibility as a basketball coach. I think that's a given, but you're teaching a bunch of hours this semester, and so are you one of the rare people that are both staff and faculty?
I am the only coach on staff that is also an instructor. So, I have 26 hours I'm teaching this semester.
Say that again, how many?
26. So, how it works, if you're a full-time faculty, then you're required to teach 15 hours. With my coaching duties, they allow me to teach 9 hours as a full load. And so it just so happened that this semester we just needed more sections added. And so we added some extra sections, and I told them I would go ahead and take those on. And so, I'm teaching 26 hours.
You know, it's interesting to me because as a coach, you're out there during games, you're out in front of people, and but you're out in front of your students, and that's it when you come to a classroom. Are there correlations between Jenni Croy, the coach, and Jenni Croy, the classroom teacher? Do you use a little bit of same skills in both situations?
I'm sure I do. I don't know what those skills are, but I'm sure I do. I really do enjoy teaching. For whatever reason, I was a math major in college, and so I love to teach the algebra sections, and those students really that aren't into math, don't enjoy math, don't like math, aren't very good at math. Those are the students that I enjoy the most. Just kind of leading them on and showing them that, you know, it's not a hard subject, it's nothing to be afraid of. And so it's fun as an instructor to see your students have success. And so I guess I kind of coach them along in that aspect. But I really do enjoy teaching. I always have. That was my my full intention when I went to college, was I was going to be a teacher and maybe coach a little bit on the side, and then, here I am.
Here you are. Here you are. The old saying is coaching is teaching and teaching is coaching. You've heard that one 100 times, I'm sure. But I think there's some truth in that. I think you've got you're coaching on the floor and teaching them things and all that kind of stuff. Why are kids afraid? I think you said afraid of math at this point.
I think it's just a subject that that if you don't have a good background in, then it's a little scary at the higher level. So, a lot of students, for whatever reason, might even get to us to the point that they're in the college level and they're not good at multiplication, or they're not good at adding negative and positives. And so I think that then makes them kind of shut down and be scared of the whole subject.
Right.
And so it's just, I guess it's up to us to let them know that they're going to need this down the road at some point, whether or not they're using algebra, but they're going to need those higher order thinking skills. And so that's really what we're trying to relay to them, that, it's not scary. It's something that will be used in your life at some point.
I assume you teach them manually how to go through an equation or what. But my question is, in this day of technology, why? How do you answer that question when they say, I can go plug this into my laptop?
Well, actually, I encourage them to use their calculator. Just today's society, everything's electronic. We want them to be able to do it, obviously, without a calculator. I do show them the steps that's involved in that, and I want them to be able to do that, but at the same time, I want them to be able to use that technology that's right there at their hands as well. And a lot of times they get to us and they've never used a calculator or a graphing calculator.
Really?
And so, we have to show them, how to plug those in, and then they realize, oh, it's not that hard. So, it's.
When you talk about this is going to be useful for you in the future, and I'm sure you talk about that all the time, but especially with those hesitant students, how is it going to be useful for them in the future?
It's not, and they ask that question all the time. It's not really about the X's and the Y's. And like I said before, it's more higher order thinking skills, how to think through something, how to follow a procedure, how to follow step-by-step instruction. Because honestly, when you're solving an equation, they're all done basically the same way. And if you can follow those steps and get that result, that's something in your future, might be whatever job you are in. Your boss is going to require you to follow some sort of protocol or procedure and get a result. And so that's really, I think, what we're working towards.
Yeah, so it is all about the procedure and the process. Gotcha. That's a good point. I think that's a really good point. As you see kids come in over the years, and I don't know, how many years have you been teaching here now? 16 maybe?
This is my 16th, yes.
Yeah. Have kids changed?
I don't know that the students have changed. The technology has changed, or the way that we're able to reach them has changed. I think with COVID happening and realizing that we can, record our lectures and send those out to students, and so that they can get not only the lecture in class, and they can go home and watch it if they need to, or if they miss, they're able to go back and watch it. So I don't know that students have totally changed. I think that the past couple of years has been challenging because they did miss out on a lot of instruction. For those kids that were in high school, they missed out on that. And so trying to catch them back up has been a challenge. But for the most part, I think students have really, kind of remained the same. I don't see a huge change in their ability or the way they come to class and are prepared and things like that. So
I've kind of found that good teachers, especially long-range teachers have been in it for a while.
You can say old.
I would never do that. But I find that they have a mentor or somebody they thought was a really good teacher when they were young. Do you have somebody like that?
I do. When I was in high school, I had a very, very good math teacher, and so she instructed us. She had a binder that she kept all of her notes in, and she was kind of a lead by example instructor, and I think that helped me become good at math. And so I liked the way she taught it and presented it. And then when I student taught in college, I was in Maysville, and Peggy Harwood was my cooperating teacher. And she was all about relationships and connecting with those students and connecting with those students that weren't math-oriented kids. And I watched her do that. I watched her interact with the kids in the way that she, again, presented it. And I think I really wanted to model what she did. And take that with me when I went into my own classroom. Anything
specific that she did that really influenced you?
I just think it was watching her interactions with the students. There's really, not one specific thing, but just the way she connected with them. I wanted to be able to have that connection with students.
Right. When we last saw you on the basketball floor, it was at the national tournament. You finished, I believe, 6th overall through the way they ranked that. And this year, it looks very promising, especially with kids coming back, players coming back for a 3rd year because of the COVID rules. Tell us a little bit about your expectations for this basketball season.
I think not only do I have, expectations, I think these returners have that. They expect it as well. And so It's evident in our workouts every single day. Watching those kids that were a part of the national tournament team that have returned, they're all in. I mean, they are leaders through and through. They get things started. They're a lot more vocal. And so I think they expect it. We as coaches, obviously, that's the ultimate goal, is to get there again. We know it's not going to be an easy road to do so. Once you've been there, you have the target on your back. And,
right.
And so, it's just evident, I feel like, day in and day out in the workouts and the extra shooting and conditioning that these kids are already putting in. So it's exciting to see, and I hope we get there again. It was a lot of fun, and this group deserves it.
Nora Ford is back, All-American last year, which was exciting, and certainly she was worthy of that acclaim. What does she bring to your team? What kind of person is she, and what kind of player is she?
She brings a tremendous work ethic. She's in the gym she's there at between 5 and 5:30 every morning on her own.
Wow.
This is not something that we tell them to do or make them do. She's in there every single morning getting a workout in. I think at the national tournament for her, she saw what she needed to do as a player to develop, to make her team better, to get us better and to get us higher than a 6th place finish. And so a lot of pressure was put on her, I think, and a lot of teams came out and guarded her tight and took away her outside shot. And so she's really worked in the off season on attacking the basket and finishing around the rim. And it's fun to see in this preseason just how far she's come since that national tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's exciting for us, and a little scary for the people we play on. She was pretty good last year. How about people like Jenni Croy coming back for a 3rd year?
Kennedy wasn't sure what she was going to do. She had kind of decided she was just going to go on and get her 4-year degree, and then called me this summer and said, hey, I want to come back. And so, she's a kid. I was, we'll find it. Yes, right. Please do. And so, again, she is putting time in. She's in the gym in the morning as well with Nora. She's really working on her outside game. So again, the national tournament was a wake-up call for her because those teams took away her drive, which was what she likes to do. And so she's in shooting threes and really working on her outside shot every single day. And so she keeps asking, do you think that's going to pay off? And 100% that's going to pay off. And so I can already tell in our scrimmages that we've had, or that we do, just inter-squad scrimmages, that she's a lot more confident in shooting the ball from the outside, and she's determined this year to not let somebody take her game away from her. So,
right. Macy Moore is an interesting story because she came in her senior year of high school, came here, started. She did not start right away. She came off the bench that first year, had a 2nd year last year as a starter, and the plan always was for her to come back a 3rd year. Correct?
Yeah. I think. Yes, it was. I mean, for me, it was for sure. and I think the way we have, worked her classes out, it worked out as well too. But I think it helped her knowing that Nora was going to return and Kennedy as well. And so, they're a pretty big nucleus that we have returning that we can build around. But Macy is a supernaturally talented kid. There's not a lot of girls out there that are tough and strong and can finish around the rim like she can. And so, we have big expectations for her again. Last year we kind of pulled her away from the basket a little bit. We had Jasmine underneath the basket. And so with Jasmine gone and Macy can move back into that 5 spot where she's really comfortable. But what you'll see with her is she does not hesitate at all shooting her outside shot, her 3-point shot, and looks good doing it, and doesn't think twice about it. And so I think that's going to help her a lot, expand her game. Not only can she play underneath, she can step outside too.
We have any other 3rd years coming back?
We don't have 3rd years. Our 2nd year returner, Jordan Gray, she again, as a kid last year, I think that improved the whole season. She's fast, she's lanky, she can play inside and out, she's got a quick first step, and she's playing with so much confidence already this year. And so we look for Jordan probably to play that 4 spot, move Macy underneath the basket, and kind of work Jordan in the 4 where she can go outside and some inside too.
Right. Surprises me a little bit that we've got more women athletes coming back for a 3rd year than it sounds like we have men's, specifically in basketball. Why is that, do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm glad it worked out for me the way it did.
Yeah,
but
you had a good recruiting year in a lot of ways.
And I look at Leslie every single day and I'm like, is this what it's like to be a 4-year coach where you've got kids that know your system and know your program, and it flows very, very well in practice. They know what they're doing. They don't question things. They just know what to do. They can get it started. We don't even have to be there and they can run it. So no, I'm not sure. I don't know. Our girls that we had returning, I think it probably helps that majority of those are kind of local to the area as well. And so they weren't quite ready to
Seems to me, please correct me if I'm wrong, men have a tendency to think, I'm going to go play in the NBA, I'm going to go play overseas. Women don't necessarily always have those kind of goals. Am I on the right track there?
Well, I feel like women's players are more kind of career oriented. They know what they want to do. They usually have a plan coming in of what they want to major in and what degree they want to pursue. And so, I think a lot of guys are just super excited to have the opportunity to play, college basketball, and then, like you said, have hopes and dreams of getting to the next level. But I think girls just, they come in with a plan and kind of with a goal in sight, and so they know basketball is going to help them get there, but it's not something that for them that they feel like they can do forever, probably.
You've brought her up a couple of times. Tell me about your relationship with Leslie, because you and Leslie Collins have been together for this entire ride.
We have. I've been very lucky. I know it doesn't happen often that you get an assistant coach that stays. I'm super blessed. She does things before I even ask for them to be done. She just knows what to do, and so it makes my life easy. When I see other coaches that are working their tails off and doing a lot, and Leslie does a ton for us, and I know she's probably exhausted with a 4-year-old at home and staying busy that way, but she just lives and breathes, I think, NCMC and our women's basketball program as well. And so she was a part of that when she was in college here, and I think she loves it, and she's a kind of person, she's very organized. I can ask her for something that we did maybe 3 years ago and she has it filed somewhere, and so that's great. So that's great for me. So I don't have to worry about anything because she takes care of basically everything.
How, in your 15 years now going on 16, how's the 3-point shot changed the game?
Well, they keep scooting him back.
Yeah. Is it back again this year?
No, it's not. But, I think right now I feel like it's kind of killed the mid-range jumper. Everything's a 3 or a layup, and so that mid-range jumper's just kind of gone by the wayside. But if you're not a you've got to develop your 3-point shot.
No matter what position you play?
No matter what position you play, I feel like you have to have that ability to step out and hit the 3. And so that's something that our kids work on all the time. Luckily, we have the shooting gun they can come in and just work on their own time and get a lot of shots in really quick. Right. But, and it's just something you have to, like you said, you have to be able to do at any position. It's crazy because it went from probably not a huge priority 15 years ago to now it's something that needs to be done.
Jenni, I have this vision of you as a high school, maybe junior high school player out in your driveway, backing up and hitting threes, what are now threes. And you end up going to Pittsburgh State, and you're in the Hall of Fame at Pitt State as basically a 3-point shooter. What was that experience like for you as a player now, and how do you relate it to coaching at this point?
I was that type of kid. I was in my driveway a lot. In high school, 3-point shots had just come about, maybe when I was in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. So when I went to high school, our goal actually was to shoot 1 3-pointer a game. Because
as a team,
because it wasn't a priority. And I really wasn't, I didn't think about shooting a 3-pointer in high school at all.
Interesting.
And then I went to college, and that was all he wanted me to do. And so, you know, it was a whole nother level, learning how to get yourself open, learning how to play against somebody that's bigger, faster, stronger, you know, every single time. And so I was that kid who wasn't blessed with a ton of speed. And so I had to really work on my game on how to get myself open. We ran just a kind of a motion offense, so there was nothing that was specially set for me to get that shot off. And so I had to find ways to create my own shot. I had to work on getting that shot off quick. So I had to put that time in. And I think I was also that kid that I didn't want to be on the bench. I wanted to be on the floor. And so I was going to make sure I was going to put that time in or do whatever it took to get me that opportunity.
5:30 in the morning on the gun?
Right. Well, we didn't have guns back then. I wish. I say that all the time. I wish I had one of those that rebounded and shot me out the pass. And no, you know, we had chased down every rebound or had somebody that passed to you. Yeah. So, and I think just by putting that time in and being that type of athlete that really had to work for my spot and work for success, you know, you want to instill that in your players as well. So
you played a little bit of defense here and there, didn't you?
When I needed to. I figured if I hit 3 and they hit 2, I was ahead by 1.
Yeah, right.
So,
that's a great outlook. Let's make sure that doesn't get passed on too far down the line. But your family is obviously instrumental. Salem, your daughter, has been here as your assistant coach. Now she's the softball assistant. And is it a residence hall director or what do they call her? Coordinator, I think. Okay. Yeah. But she's living with the students on campus, and it's a full-time job for her. Got another son. Is he student teaching, Latham, now?
He is a graduate assistant coach at Northwest Missouri State for the women's golf team. And so he's working on his master's degree and helping coach their women's golf team.
And you're still going to high school games for your younger
Correct.
daughter?
Correct. I have a daughter that's a sophomore in high school. So yeah, it's a crazy balance, but it's worked for us for years. My husband is back into coaching again. And
there's a surprise.
Yeah, right. And so it's just what we do. I don't know what life would be like if we were home at 4:30 and with nothing going on. So,
do you and Wes talk to your kids about getting into coaching, or maybe not, or what the pros and cons are?
No, we really don't. I mean, they hear us talk at home about coaching and about everything, but I think Wes and I both love what we do and enjoy it and would never discourage our kids from being in education or being a coach. And, you know, I hear people say, oh, you don't want to go into education. Oh, you don't. But for us, I think it's helping students and it's changing kids' lives and it's connecting with those kids that might not have somebody at home or somebody in their life that connects with them. And so it's all about the relationships. And I think our kids see that and how important that our players and ex-players are to us, that, you know, that's just kind of instilled in them. And they've been raised around our teams. You know, Salem and Latham Salem was 6, I believe, when I started here. You know, Kagan was a newborn. Latham was 8, and it's just they've been brought to the gym every single day. They've been a part of it, and so I think they see that. And anytime that I have, you know, there's been years where it's been harder, and you contemplate, am I spending too much time with other people's children and not my own? And every time I would mention to my kids, maybe I should be at home, or no, Mom, no, we want you. We want you there. We want to do this. And so they were all on board growing up with it. And so I think just seeing us as a family and making it work is just kind of in their blood, I guess.
Yeah. What's the thing you're proudest of your career?
Oh goodness, that's a hard question. The proudest of, I I don't know. I know I've said this a million times already in this interview. I really think I'm most proud to see those student athletes or those kids that I've coached in their success. We have a lot of girls that have come through here that are extremely successful in their careers now. And so I think that's probably, for me, knowing where they came from and knowing that maybe we had a hand in them becoming successful. And I think that's probably what I'm most proud of, is to see the success of the student athletes that Leslie and I have had through our program and the success that they achieve in their life.
Thanks to Jenni Croy for being our guest on the Pirate People podcast from North Central Missouri College's Pirates Digital Media. Our podcast will be with you every week, and we look forward to visiting with you again next week.